people who have cheated on their partners. Why? Nice try babe lol, what do you want for dinner? Let's get some peeping French toast. I held hands with another girl when I was in 5th grade. Very ashamed to admit that. My first GF cheated on me. I gave her a second try. She cheated again. We broke up. Few months later I got a new GF. She cheated on me. We broke up. Few months later I got another GF and the guy she cheated on me with told me before she told me. At this point I was just peeping pissed at how often people were cheating on me, so I went out. Met a random girl. We kissed. I stopped. Called my cheating GF and broke up with her. She said I could choose the movie if I wanted, you know. I was young, immature, full of myself and lacked feelings. I would like to preface this with, I would never ever in my life cheat again. I am an entirely different person today than I was then. I was an alcoholic. I would get drunk and do things I horribly regretted, to the point that I wouldn't even remember doing them. I would drink with anyone to get alcohol. It was disgusting. I am a 90 pound 5 feet female. And I got myself into dicey situations so many times. I would actually wake up not even knowing if I had slept with someone. After I let a guy buy me drinks all night. I would do this just to get booze for free. I was in a relationship. And he was my primary booze provider because he was an alcoholic too. But when he wasn't around, I still needed to get drunk because my alcoholism was horribly out of control. Without it I would get the shakes. I had no intention of sleeping with anyone who bought me drinks. But I knew the easiest way to get free drinks was to flirt with men at bars. I woke up in questionable places. Not even recalling a single thing about the night at all. This happened over and over and over. Until finally one day I woke up in the hospital with my face absolutely black and blue and I had a brain bleed. I got sober that day. I am not in a relationship now. And I have been sober for over 600 days. Misery. Not an excuse. But it is the reason. Perfect answer. Everyone wants a partner that can act like a mirror. Not to see their reflection. All the misery that we embody and carry with us. But some kind of magical mirror that amplifies all the good stuff and hides what causes us insecurity. Misery. It's easy to drift away from what you saw in a partner when you first got together. And then you're trying to catch a glimpse of that and see it more in others than them. And trying to force things to try and hold on to that image. That impression of what felt ideal. It becomes exhausting and can feel like more effort than it's worth. We hadn't had sex in over a year. We had turned into just good friends who cared about each other, but physical passion was gone. There was significant liquor involved when it happened. I feel bad about it and would take it back if I could, but I can't. I was honest about what happened and we broke up. We are still close friends and we still care about each other a lot. She has found someone else who is better suited for her than me and I'm very happy for her. In a way, it was the catalyst to us doing what needed to be done in the relationship, breaking up to make us both happy. Not sure if it's cheating or not, but I tried to break up with my ex and she started crying and pleading with me to give it another chance, which broke my heart and I reluctantly said okay. Tried again a couple weeks later because the relationship wasn't getting any better, but same thing happened. She was a really nice girl and we got along well, but our personalities were way too different and I wasn't willing to make her my life partner. I decided to go on a wilderness backpacking trip by myself to clear my head. At work I told a girl who I knew through mutual friends about it and she said she's never done a backpack trip and always wanted to. So I jokingly invited her and to my surprise she accepted and was super excited. During the trip we really got to know each other and I decided I would like to pursue a relationship with her. We slept in the same tent and drank whiskey under the stars, but I didn't try to kiss or get sexual anyway because I was still technically in a relationship. Once we got home I broke up for good and 3 years later we are engaged. Turns out me not trying to make any moves on her made her trust me more than any other guy and we are living a great life together. Hope my ex is reading this and answers. My mother was a cheater and both my grandmothers were cheaters. I refuse to have any relationships because I'm worried it's genetic at this point. My dad's mother. She cheated on my grandpa because he was useless in the bedroom. He was 26 and she was 18 when they got married. Neither were interested. It was a family audit thing. They had my dad. Grandpa only found out because one of the guys told, saying he wasn't sure who the baby's daddy was. Grandpa came out as gay when my dad was a few years old. He and my nana got divorced soon after the birth. Nana married the guy who came forward. Then all three of them lived together for some unknown reason. My mother's mother. She cheated on my grandfather with other women. Who didn't count because they were women. Obviously. He forgave her after she let him watch. She traumatized me with that story. My mother. Cheated on her first boyfriend to get me hello. He forgave her. And while pregnant with me she cheated again. Her and my stepdad got married when I was a year old. Her reasoning was my dad was a hate peep. Very true. My parents have always despised each other. My stepdad was literally because he had money. And now she's nice and stable in a big Olay house. I cheated on the person that cheated on me. She cheated first. Years prior. I guess I was still hurt. I think mostly she wasn't meeting my needs and I wanted some attention. Some girl at work treats me like a god and one thing led to the other. We didn't have sex. But it still peeped. I was unhappy with a lot of mistreatment and abuse and cheated with a friend who made me feel everything I had to beg her for. But that's not a good excuse to use. I was just being an asshole. After all, I could have left. But I was playing both sides hoping things will change and getting a little too deep in my other situation. I also found out she was cheating at the same time a few months later while trying to work it out lol. Still feel bad about it regardless. I lost a friend group because of it and broke her trust. Searching for a way to fill a hole in myself. No excuses, I was wrong. This actually does work quite well for a short time. Until it drips out. He beat my head into the floor. I went from loving someone to despising them in 46 seconds. I wanted revenge, I wanted him to hurt. What I got instead was still a burning hatred for him but added myself into the mix. I made out with another dude the night I found out my boyfriend of then 5ish years had cheated on me with one of my best friends from childhood. Terrible experience. But I told the boyfriend the next day. And we tried working it out for another miserable year. A friend constantly cheats on girls because God will forgive him. That's it. That's his reason. His family and him are mega religious and he simply believes that God will forgive him. My taxi driver was desperate to cheat on his wife. He was a pig of a man and was actually quite angry when telling me about it. First day as a taxi driver and was just venting to me. He said it's like eating pie. He's sick of the one flavor but he loves his wife. Felt like hitting him. He was honestly awful. Because I was selfish and self-conscious. And felt trapped in my own skin. She wasn't lacking anything. I was. She is a good soul that I've hurt and I'll never live it down. Not a day goes by that I don't regret seeing her cry and lose a part of herself because of my actions. A few months before I left for the military I met an amazing girl through a friend. It turned out that we had lived down the street from each other the past few years and never knew each other existed. In the course of a few months we went from acquaintance to dating to smashing all the time. Then I left. Between boot camp and the training school for my job I was gone 5 months. I ended up dating a girl in my school and broke it off with a girl back home. I always feel terrible about how I treated her, and for years I felt like betraying her ruined my chance at happiness. We finally talked a few years later and I found out that my betrayal had sent her on a spiral. She joined the military, married a guy who cheated on her, got divorced. It's hard knowing I sent her that way. I was 17. Unhappy in my relationship. Drunk. Felt like I'd lost all my power and wanted some of it back. I was also super insecure and, to be honest, a complete asshole. I cried for days after out of guilt, and I'm just glad I learned from the experience. I cheated multiple times with multiple people on one person. Before I cheated I would have bet my life I would never cheat. We had been together 3 years and I wasn't happy in the relationship. He was an amazing person who didn't do anything wrong. I didn't understand why I wasn't happy. It made no sense. At the time I thought if he didn't do anything wrong, I had no reason to break up with him. On top of that, the idea of breaking his heart was inexcusable. Every time I cheated, whether it was a kiss or something more, I would appreciate him because he was always so much better in every way than anyone else. Then I would slowly go back to being angry again and the cycle would repeat. It took me years after the breakup to understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling. It's been over 7 years and I will never forgive myself for the pain I caused him. We were on our way out. Our relationship went into FPEEP territory. One night then I was hanging out with co-workers. Said co-worker was like, yeah, we've peeped. The next morning I felt like absolute speep. I confessed to my however falling apart girlfriend. She dumped me on the spot thankfully and put us to bed. Why I cheated is easy enough. I thought we were over. Why as an actual excuse? Just tell people first. Say you're no longer happy in a monogamous relationship. Say it peeping first. Ask my dad. He's married to the woman he cheated on my mom with. This is my life as well. Dad cheated on my mom with my now stepmom when I was 6. Married my stepmom when I was 9. And now I'm 31 and they're still married but miserable. He's tried to cheat on her at least once too. I was an idiot who gave in to the desire for physical affection when I had a long distance relationship. It's my biggest regret and I don't put myself in those positions anymore. She wanted an openish relationship, like, okay, we can peep other people but not too much. Apparently just for her, since her reaction wasn't particularly good when I've peeped someone else once. Nice way to find out about insecurity and double standards in her mind. Lack of self-control? No one? Come on. In the top comments? Nah, only good people in bad situations. People with real answers are incontroversial. I don't typically answer. I just lurk. This one is a soft spot though. I married too young and was trapped in a life that I felt was put upon me rather than what I wanted. I cheated and made mistakes for a long time, but in the end the right decision was made. I didn't do it in the right way. I wasn't a good person. If I could go back and be stronger, I like to think I would. I'm lucky to be with who I am with today. I'm lucky to be happy. Good things happen to bad people, I guess. We both stopped trying in our relationship, essentially becoming roommates. A guy at work started treating me like I was special, telling me how beautiful I was. It was nice to hear. Over time our friendship got more and more personal until it wasn't much of a stretch to decide to have sex. At the beginning, the idea of sleeping with this guy was ludicrous. I would have never considered it. But looking back I can see where he was constantly testing the boundaries of our friendship to push us to a place where he could proposition me. It happened so slowly, over time, that I never thought anything of it.